Today is January 1st, 2025. Happy New Year's, everybody. We are bringing together this year a series of podcasts, and we'll be running these on a weekly basis. And we're going to talk about all issues that pertain to the college planning process for our families. And there are so many things. This whole industry, the college planning industry, has really changed a lot. And our company, Advanced College Planning, we're located in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, as well as Naples, Florida. We just have been completely barraged by requests for information on a lot of the changes, especially the Department of Education changing FAFSA, submitting your financial aid forms, the deadlines and things like that. And this process, and I can tell you from the time when I was a young man, back in the late 70s and early 80s, when I went to the University of Connecticut, it was a simple process. Now it's anything but a simple process. As a matter of fact, it's daunting, it's dizzying, and it's very complex for a lot of families to navigate the college planning process. And let's face it, college costs today are the fastest growing, based on inflation, the fastest growing goods or item in our entire economy. Nothing except perhaps hospital services has gone up as much as college costs. So I will tell you that there's been so many clients of ours at Advanced College Planning who've asked us to give a lot more information out. So what we're going to do on a weekly basis is post these podcasts, and this is number one. So we will be posting this podcast pertaining to college planning on our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page at advancedcollegeplanning.net. So we will also have these on our website. You can go to our website, advancedcollegeplanning.net, and you can pull up a wide range of information on the website about us, what we do, and more importantly, some of the specific topics that interest you. We'll have these podcasts on those as well. So our offices are located in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, and Naples, Florida. And just to give you an idea of who we are basically and what we've been all about with regards to college planning, I started off in the financial planning field after graduating from the University of Connecticut in 1982. So even though I look younger, I'm actually 65 years young today. So just to let you know, I feel great, and this is great. And I'm really excited because we've been able to help out so many families in this college planning quest that they're trying to successfully navigate. So with that said, I started off in 1982 working for a wealth management firm. In 1989, I went out and got my CFP designation. That was important in wealth management back then. In 1990, I left the firm I was at to start my own company. And in 1992, the year of the 529 plan that was introduced by Congress, many of my clients back then in 1992, heck, that was 32 years ago. I was only 32, so I was a young man. And a lot of my friends, a lot of our clients were putting their kids through college. And guess what? College was going up 10% on average per year back then. So we had a lot of our clients back then asking us, gee, retirement planning is one thing, but how do we afford to pay for college? And I can tell you that we started looking at the 529 plans. We realized at that point, colleges were getting out of range and that the 529 plans weren't the answer to all people's situations. In other words, they pertain to some families and they can really help out, while for other families in need-based aid situations, it can actually hurt you. So we got more involved with this, and we actually developed a comprehensive planning program. We offer right now a turnkey comprehensive program to help families in all aspects of college planning. So we've left no stone unturned, so to speak, and offer every single service that you can think of in the college planning realm. So with that said, for the last 32 years, we built upon some things. We actually were an industry first when it comes to actually on our premises in our office, we do student positioning with mentor coaches. So we're one of the first firms that have actually helped out in that area to do live meetings with students to be able to help the student figure out their best fit college and then to be able to get into their dream school. So with that, let's get started now. We're going to talk about, for the first topic of the year for our very first podcast, we're going to talk about the student, every student, and how they have to go through. And I'm going to give you a couple ideas that I think can help you out here. So this is going to be about 15 minutes. But these are some of the things that we're going to be sending out to a lot of our clients this week, but we're also going to be posting on YouTube as well as Facebook. And you can get this information at advancedcollegeplanning.net. So my partner, Jeff Bliss, and I have put together this comprehensive type planning to where we can actually reach out to help our families save money on college costs. So what we are trying to accomplish first and foremost are four things. Number one, helping the student get into their best fit college. And we're going to talk about that today in our first segment. Number two, at the lowest price for the families. Because let's face it, college costs, they have gone up inflation-wise higher than any goods or service that are offered in our country outside of hospital costs. So with that said, it's become very, very expensive. There are some schools out there like Fordham University that actually cost $95,000 per year. We were doing an event not too long ago, and a client of mine, when I said that the cost was $95,000, they said, "Is that for 4 years?" No, it's for 1 year. So this is how much college costs have actually gone up, and it really needs to be addressed. And how can we get the most money from a college while at the same time being able to get our student into the best fit. So, as I mentioned, we're trying to get our students into the best fit for them at the lowest price for you without changing your lifestyle, enhancing your retirement, and not blowing it. So if we can do all four of those things, you'll actually have a fair shake here in this whole college planning process. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about the student. Let's say Sally or Jimmy, we'll call them Sally and Jimmy, are high school students, sophomore and junior year, getting ready to go into their senior year. Neither one of them know who their dream school is, but by the senior year, you want to be able to have a list of 10 great schools. And I always break it down. If you can get help, we certainly try to help our students and our clients get their student into the best fit schools. And the idea is to be able to get 10 schools. I think it's important to kind of meet your fit. So with that said, there's a lot of different ways to determine the best career path, college choice, major, most importantly, the best university, be able to make that all happen. And keep in mind, families, we're trying to get our students to get out of school in 4 years. And if they need a master's, perhaps 5 tops with a master's. You know, the average student graduates 5.5 years it takes for a bachelor's degree for just 4 years. So if you can do a good job in getting your student positioned early to be able to help Sally or Jimmy find the best fit so that they can go there and make sure they're comfortable, that's very imperative at this point in the process. So I always say start doing, number one, what do we do? Let's say Jimmy says, "Mom, Dad, I want to go to Duke University." Well, we know what we've got to do to get into Duke. It's a pretty high-ranking school. It's not easy to get into Duke University. We've had students get into the Ivies, Duke University, Carnegie Mellon, all sorts of great universities all over the United States. But for example, Jimmy says, "I'd like to go to Duke." How do we make Jimmy come out a little bit more different than everybody else? Okay, what do we do to help Jimmy get prepared to go to Duke University? Well, first and foremost, always start early. I tell families all the time, if we're applying for 10 schools by the time that student, and this is a minimum of 10 schools, we want to apply to 3 reach schools, which are really difficult to get in, 4 target schools where we think your son or daughter can actually fit and get into those schools with a challenge, and then 3 safety schools, always safety schools that give a lot of money so we can negotiate better financial aid award offers in the future. So how do we go about this process? Well, I would always say start early. Get your positioning tools done early. That way you don't get stressed out like everybody does in their senior year because they procrastinate. And there's a lot going on. It's a much more competitive environment trying to get into your dream school today than it was 30 or 40 years when I went to college. So with that said, let's continue. I always recommend that the students, somewhere right after the sophomore year in the summer, what I always recommend, if that student thinks and they're working with a firm that can help them identify the best career path, college choice, and major, what we always suggest is that you go on an official visit. And just by signing up and registering, the student calls up. Always have the student do this sophomore year. Call up the university admissions office and tell them that you'd like to come in for an official visit. And tell them your name and register. It's important that you register. They're going to see who registers. And I always say you always have a better shot of getting into your dream college if you touch them in a subconscious way. Additionally, more than once, more than twice, 3 or 4 times. So the more you touch a college in that courting type period from the time where you're thinking about applying after your official visit to when you actually get admitted by the college, the better off you are. So keep that in mind. It does make a difference, your level of involvement as a student. To be able to get into your dream school, you need to do something different than nobody else is doing. So I've seen kids get into Yale University by doing a few simple things, at which point, because they probably wouldn't have known how to go about getting it done. So with that said, set up a family official visit. Mom and dad would be great to be able to go with the student, but I always found, for me anyway, either myself or my wife would take my daughters to the official visits. If it was down in Duke, I would probably go to North Carolina, an equal type school to Duke University, maybe Wake Forest. I'd visit North Carolina State. So there's 4 schools in a short period. So you kind of want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I would go to Duke University. And this is great because when you register with the school, that's your first touch with that school. Jimmy says, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Duke. You fly down there, you get a hotel, make it fun, make it encouraging. Go out for a nice dinner the night before, perhaps, but get down there and be early and make sure you're seated. And what's going to happen is you're going to have probably an administrator explain Duke and what Duke offers in a classroom type setting. This will happen at Duke University. You'll sit there and hear all of the information, and that administrator is going to tell you that Duke University is the one and only. We're the only one in the universe, and you really want to attend here, and this is why. So they're going to explain to you all of the benefits, Duke's record, their graduation record. And I always say it's always smart to know a little bit about the school before you go visit it, so you can ask questions, believe it or not, could make you stand out at that official visit. So I think that's a great way to approach this. Then what you're going to have after the explanation to the entire group of people that went for that official visit that day, they are after that going to take you on a tour of the college. So they're going to take you to Cameron Indoor Stadium, which is their basketball facility where all those great Duke basketball games are played. Even though when they play UConn, I always go for UConn. So to make a long story short, Cameron Indoor, they're going to show you the football stadium. They're going to show you the business school, the engineering school. And of course, Duke University is a lot like Princeton University. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus. And the student typically falls in love with the place. And the same thing when you go to Chapel Hill. It's a FAFSA school. It's a state college, absolutely gorgeous college, very difficult to get in as well. And you're going to be able to tour that school as well. So you're going to see the benefits, the beauty of all of these wonderful schools. And then you're going to leave. And then you're going to make a list. And I always say make a list of 10 schools, minimum, maybe 12 schools that you can visit. So when you put that on a list, the nice thing is your son Jimmy might say, Mom, Dad, I didn't care for Duke, but I love North Carolina. So this is what you want to do. You want to get rid of the ones you don't want, keep the ones you like, and pretty much put North Carolina on the list and, compile that list as you're building your school list to be able to look at best fits. Now, the student leaves the college thinking, wow, this is great. I can see myself happy here, not so much at the other school. They're going to take what they want, leave the rest, and they're going to compile that list when they get back so that by their junior year, they can do a lot more. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's really important to get prepared. See, going for an official visit, everybody does that, but it doesn't separate you from the pack. I'm going to give you a few suggestions right now today to be able to help you become more visible, to become the type of prospect that that college might want to admit just based on doing a few extra things. So what I would do is I would say, okay, North Carolina, Chapel Hill, you went for the official visit. Now what comes next? Well, I always say make sure that you get great grades, that you prep for your SAT or ACT. The ACT is just as important. The colleges will take either one. And make sure you build yourself a quality resume along the way. What does the resume entail? Well, it's not just sports anymore, but clubs, leadership, in community service. Building a well-rounded professional recommendation like you're going for your first job is very essential with these colleges. So with that said, what I would do next in my junior year, I would call up the admissions office and say, gee, I really like North Carolina. I want to go to the University of North Carolina. It's my dream school. Really make them feel great, because that's probably how you feel. I'd like to request and come in for an interview. I can tell you, folks, this is a process that I've seen over the last 32 years become less and less visible, less requested by the families and the students. And it's a shame because it's a big deal. I think it's really important. We at our firm, Advanced College Planning, we actually do mock interviews to help students figure out how to do the interview process. In other words, what to wear is a simple thing, but it's important. You know, you don't have to wear a shirt and tie, but you should have a nice polo shirt on that's clean and have some nice slacks on and look casual, but nice. And I think the way you sitting is a certain position. It's a nonverbal skill. The way you make eye contact is very important. And these are things that I think young students, if they can learn this and go into North Carolina after you do the official visit, the second touch for that would be, let's touch the college now and let's go in there, call up the admissions office, request that you go into the admissions office for an interview. That way they can see you. You are going to have a college planning admissions officer interview you. And then you can display additionally where most students aren't even requesting it to get that ed to be able to get into the college just by doing the interview. That'll take about 40 minutes in the interview process, and you'll thank that interview person. You'll take that business card from the person who interviewed you, as well as the head of admissions. And there's a reason why. Because when you get back to your home, if you are a student, the third touch, an additional touch, would be to send, what do we do next? Send a simple thank you note. Jones, thank you for the opportunity to meet with me, to tell me more about the University of North Carolina, to give you an opportunity to let you know more about me and what I exhibit and can bring to the university, as North Carolina is my dream school. So that implied consent from the student, that's something that works as well. So now you've touched the university, and this should happen in the summer between your junior and senior year before you apply, probably in the springtime, so May or June. And then what I would do to make sure that your student is well-rounded and has gotten proper student mentoring from perhaps a college planning coach, what I would do at that point, fourth touch, I would simply take a leadership role in community service. And I always tell my students, do something different than everybody else. Everybody plays basketball or football or cheerleads or plays volleyball. How about becoming a member of a club? How about not just being a member, but being a vice president, showing leadership? So many universities, if you're a captain or a leader. And then my favorite is, how about starting your own community service club? Call it the community service club. Get your English teacher and your buddies on your lacrosse team and create a club, do a community service event. Because the fourth touch, after you go visit a college for an official visit, after you go for the interview, and then send out a thank you note, the fourth touch should be a community service event that you ran. Maybe it's a car wash to raise money for the homeless. Maybe it's a Christmas carol sing at a senior center. It doesn't take much, but the colleges, when they see this, they love it. I always say, get a flash drive, do a little video, as I'm doing right now. Take a video of doing a community service event that you started yourself. This will set you apart from everybody else. And then right before you apply, send out a little flash drive of that event that you created, that community service event, maybe a minute long. And then in that say, at University of North Carolina, I realize that you're big on community service. We try to give the public the best with regards to what we do for community service. And I know that that's what you like. Enjoy my video. We do a lot of these. Thank you very much. So what you're essentially doing is you're touching them for the fourth time. And then you're applying in September with the Common App. We make sure our students, we help them apply. It's really important to do it right and have a professional resume that's not part of the application, but separate, which is really important as well. And I'll tell you why in another session. But now you've touched them 4 times. And then when they get your application, they sit around in a circle, maybe 12, 15 admissions officer, and they take each application. And then they look at your application and they say, oh, this is James Whitmore. Well, James Whitmore, Jim came in. He came for the official visit in his sophomore year, at the end of his sophomore year, between his junior year. And from that point, at the end of his junior year, he came in for an interview. And then one of the admissions officers says, I interviewed him. He's a great young man, very sharp, great interviewing skills, did a fantastic job in the interview. Plus, he sent me a thank you note, and he sent the head of our department a thank you note as well. Oh, and he's also sent a flash drive of a community service event that he and his friends, he started it. They did a carol sing, and they did a car wash drive for the homeless, and they actually did a food bank. He sent it over to me in a flash drive, and I got to tell you, he really gets involved as a leader in community service, which is what we here at the University of North Carolina are all about. Let's get Jimmy in here. He's the type of student that matches our criteria at our university. Let's get him in here and admit him, and let's give him some money. So it's not by a mistake that a lot of students are able to get into their dream schools. But I always say, if you can enhance your opportunity, if you can enhance your chances of getting into the college just by doing a few extra simple steps that nobody else is doing, you'll be visible, you will be recognized, and you'll be able to get into that school far easier than someone who just goes for the official visits. And think about this for a second, families, parents, students. A lot of parents and students don't even go for the official visit. So I always say, get engaged, get involved. I always think that this is probably a 4-year college education. Think about it. Could cost you $250,000 to $500,000 now. Very simply. It's probably more expensive than your home. Why wouldn't you want to be involved, right? So get out there. If you have any questions, certainly call Jeff, Rebecca, Ashley. Call anybody in our staff. Peter. We've got great people that work with us. We can answer any questions on how we can help, get engaged in this process to be able to get into the best fit school. We can always walk right through it. Just go to our website, advancedcollegeplanning.com. Give us a call at our Rocky Hill office, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have pertaining to the admissions process and how a student goes about getting into their dream school. So I hope that this segment helped you out today. And for all of our clients that perhaps we've reminded you, however, it's just a good reminder that these events, when your freshmen, sophomores, and juniors get closer to their senior years, we want to be able to make sure that we do these chronologically, these steps, so that we can help you increase the chances of getting into your dream school for your students. So with that said, for those people we haven't met that we'll see on YouTube or Facebook someday, like anything else, we look forward to be able to help everybody out there. We're passionate about doing college planning. And this is just podcast 1 in a series of hopefully more to come. So make it a great New Year's, everybody. Enjoy your year, and We'll be around and we'll see you shortly. Bye bye now.